Vergil. I want Ortiz. But I just throw him in there because he's just a hot name, you know. It's a hot name, you know.
With the Vergil Ortiz versus Ennis fight now off the table, former undisputed champion Jermell Charlo has emerged as a potential next opponent, putting Ortiz at a crossroads in his career.
Boots, all y'all 154.
Hey, you're out.
Ortiz, it is. I run Texas, dummy. I run Texas, dummy.
So Charlo, Tim Zoo.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I want to fight the best, you know, and and it's nothing personal like that. You know, it's a sport. Like I said, I just want to fight the best. I want to prove that I'm the best. I'm a competitive person. That's all.
Mike Coppinger reveals Ortiz is preparing for a move to 160, with his team already exploring several major names for his next fight. But with negotiations still developing, the biggest question is which opponent will ultimately land across from him.
Move to 160, and I'm told that's where we're going to see him campaigning at 160 going forward. Right now, he is targeting a fight with Jermell Charlo, the former undisputed champion at 154 for November 14th in Texas. There's some talks going on right now, and I'm told they're going to see this week if that's a viable possibility for November. And then if not, this is in talking to Rick Marighi and his manager, they're going to go down the list. Next up on the list would be Tim Zoo. That for a fight in Australia, likely, and then after that, they would look at Arizlan de Lara, but those are the three options right now.
This is the problem. It's been the problem with boxing.
Building on Coppinger's update, Max Kellerman argues that boxing often settles for acceptable matchups when the fights fans actually want are too difficult to make. He sees Ortiz's situation as another example, with more compelling options available, but a less exciting alternative being considered instead.
And let me use the Charlos as an example, because they both had excellent careers. They're both very good fighters. But it always seems to me like you get the consolation prize. Hey, there's a fight we'd actually like to see. Oh, we're not going to make that fight because there's not enough money in it for both promoters, or too much risk, or whatever it is. So rather than that fight, hey, we'll give you this fight. And it's usually against like Charlo, right? Charlo. Or, someone like that, where you're like, yeah, I like Charlo, and that's a good fight. But it's not the fight we want to see. We want to see Ortiz and Boots.
Yeah, that's
the fight we want. And if you can't get Boots, fight Fundora. Or if you go up to...
Fundora's busy and Boots is busy.
If you go up to middleweight, there's Adames, right? Like there are guys we would prefer, but those instead we get a plausible fight. Hey, is this good enough?
You and I, we know why he's not fighting Adames.
But wait, how's Boots busy though?
Kellerman raises the stakes, arguing that Ortiz is talented, but still needs a defining test to prove whether he belongs among boxing's elite. He believes a move to 160 could leave that question unanswered, especially without a standout opponent capable of truly exposing Ortiz's ceiling.
But there are some fighters with extra. I think Teo's one of those guys. Has been throughout his career, got extra.
He ain't won no title.
And there's no, if there's a super fighter between junior middleweight and middleweight, it's Boots, in my opinion. Boots is a super fighter.
Yes,
he has different ability. Teo has different ability. Tank, for whatever, I've been critical of Tank's unwillingness to have big fights. He had different ability. If he's still fighting, I think at one point he had different ability. I'm not saying that it means that Teo's the best pound for pound or Tank once was. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but you can look at it, Shady. Yep. There's some running backs who are good. You put them behind a good offensive line, they'll be good. And there are other different. You were a difference maker. Right. There's a difference. So Ortiz, we don't know what kind. Is he on that level or on the next level down? And instead of finding out against a super fighter in his own division, or even against an unusual fighter like Fundora, he's going up to a division where there's no super fighter, where there's just a bunch of good fighters, but there is no super fighter.
Teo, you wanted to fight Boots at 147. People were saying...
At the same time, Regis Prograis and Zab Judah see Ortiz as a far more demanding test than the level of opponent Charlo previously faced. Their concern centers on whether Charlo's long absence can leave him prepared for Ortiz's intensity, pace, and physical challenge when the two finally meet.
Yeah. And he got heart.
Can he beat Vergil?
He got heart, but he got to just lock
with the
in.
layoff.
He beat
Vergil? That's a tall task.
I think so.
That's a big task for him.
Taking nothing from Vergil. Vergil is a good fighter.
There you go, Regis. That's a big task.
That's a big task. I ain't gonna lie. Vergil a monster, bro. And Mel getting a little.
We talking a 3-year layoff? Is that what we talking?
Yeah, Mel getting a little older now too. You know what I'm saying? But Mel got the skills. A young Mel, I would definitely pick him. But like Mel getting a little older.
But he got to lock in. He got to. If he locks in.
But he been out. How long he been out? 3 years. That's a long time to be off.
That's like Earl Spence. That's like Spence. Spence is a dog, but all that time off shit don't, man. That shit hard.
Exactly. That's a long time, bro.
That shit catch up with you.
And I'm saying, in Arrow fought Tim Tszyu, nigga, he fight Vergil Ortiz. Vergil Ortiz is a whole different monster than Tim Tszyu. Vergil Ortiz, bro.
100%.
Yeah, that's
he gonna bring it. Vergil gonna bring it. He gonna bring that heat.
Vergil gonna bring that shit for sure.
Backing Charlo, Kyrone Davis, and Zab Judah remain confident in his ability to compete at a high level against Ortiz. They point to Charlo's preparation and experience as important factors, while maintaining that his recent performances do not fully reflect what he can still produce in the ring.
So listen, if Charlo could lock in and train hard, I think Charlo can win that fight by knockout.
I feel like Jermell always trains hard though.
Nah, that's Jermell. Jermell will lock in.
Yeah, Jermell always trains hard.
Yeah, for sure, he'll be locked in.
I think with Jermell with that Canelo fight, I think he was in his head with the size a little bit, and he couldn't get over it. That's why he fought that way when he fought Canelo. But at 154, you know, Jermell is still a contender. You know what I mean? He never lost his belts.
Meanwhile, Sergio Mora argues that Ortiz is on the verge of a major breakthrough, but his career still lacks the signature win to establish him as a true star. He believes Ortiz now needs seasoned former champions who can withstand his power and force him to fight beyond his usual rhythm. Those opponents could expose whether Ortiz is truly ready for the highest level.
Just a few times already. He's on the cusp of becoming the next star, right? But he's still not there yet. Illness has been one thing. Having the right, dance partner that brings as much to the table as he does in power and celebrity and fame, kind of like a Boots. It's been evading him, So right now, it seems like the stars aren't aligning for Vergil Ortiz, and he hasn't even won a championship. That's just mind-boggling. He hasn't won a world championship at 28 years old. So his prime is slowly running out on him. So it's time to get the names, the former champions and the knockouts, get the knockout streak going again, because at 154, the two best fighters that he's faced, he wasn't able to knock out Madrimov and Boachuk. So you can bet once he starts facing guys that know how to fight, know how to go the distance, and never been stopped, like a Charlo, maybe those are his huckleberries. Those are guys that give him issues because they know how to survive with power. They know how to handle power, and they know how to box. They know how to clinch. They know how to use the entire ring. So I like the fight, to keep it short.
Building on Mora's point, Chris Mannix views the Charlo matchup as a major opportunity for Ortiz to reshape his position in the division. He believes a strong performance could put Ortiz firmly in line for a bigger fight down the road. A win could significantly strengthen Ortiz's momentum heading into his next stage.
Guys that can punch, two guys from Texas, two guys with star power. It's a great fight. It's a great fight. I hope it comes together, because that would be the kind of year-saving fight for Vergil Ortiz. And if he wins, he gives himself a big springboard, because I know that Fundora's team has been talking about look, we're going to win this mandatory, which I don't know why they're doing, but we're going to win this mandatory and then we're going to fight Boots Ennis next year. That's if Boots Ennis wants to fight you, right? Boots, if he gets 3 belts, that may be enough for him in the moment, or at least to go on and fight against Vergil Ortiz. DAZN and everybody working there is going to say, you know what, Fundora, he's good, but I want to see Vergil Boots, the biggest fight in U.S. boxing. So this is the kind of fight that if Vergil can get, and he can win, and he can look great, that would be give him a big bounce going into 2027 and set him up for that Boots fight next year.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. The name would be a good look.
On the other hand, Coach Bredman questions why Ortiz's career has never produced a world title opportunity despite his success and marketability. He points to the lack of elite opposition as the biggest issue, arguing that Ortiz has never had the chance to establish just how good he is against the best available competition.
He's been through 4 divisions and he's never been the man. And no division that he's been in. He was at 140, he was at 147, he was at 154, now he's at 160. So I've personally never seen anything like this before. A fighter as talented and as good as he is, as exciting as he is, in their prime, move through 4 weight divisions and never fight for a world title. Have you ever seen anything like that? I don't know how to quantify it, because I'm not sure what's going on and what's happening. But I don't know how to quantify what he is and what he's not, because we don't get to see him versus the very best of any division that he's ever in.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's had the most snake-bitten, hard luck career I've ever seen in my entire life. I've never seen a guy go this long, especially a Mexican, I'm being honest, Mexican-American, that's marketable, with a high KO percentage, with a big-time promoter, and never fight for a world title.
Taking a closer look at Ortiz's move to 160, Breadman remains skeptical that the weight change will solve the biggest issue in his career. He questions whether Ortiz will finally face the level of opposition needed to determine where he truly stands.
You have a chance. The division is a little bit wide open, but it's not guaranteed, because when you start out at 140, he might not have the bone density to beat 60 pounders. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
No, that's absolutely fair. And I just remembered, IBF is Aaron McKenna and WBA is Andy Lara.
Listen, he probably could beat a lot of those guys, but the problem is he never fights them. He don't take the fight or get the fight, whatever. I'm not saying he's ducking them, because I don't know what's happening. But have you ever seen a fighter that's always some problem with him getting a big fight? He leaves 154. 154 is way better than 160. It's the most stacked division in boxing. He gets the best fighter he fought at 154 was Madrimov, coming off of a loss.
Yeah.
However, Eric Gomes highlights the confusion surrounding Ortiz's next move, with early reports linking him to one opponent only, for those reports to be denied shortly after. The conflicting information leaves Ortiz's plans uncertain, while Charlo appears to be preparing for a different matchup.
Ortiz Jr. rejected by Ennis, which I'll get to in a second, aiming for Jermell Charlo next, right? And then the winner of Lada, Tim Tszyu. So I'm like, what is going on? But then the reporter came back and said, story update. I'm told by Jermell Charlo that talks of him fighting Vergil Ortiz is not true at all, because he talked to Al Heyman and himself. Him and Al Heyman had a conversation, and he's fighting Tim Tszyu, and they're just working on the particulars and the location.
At the same time, Eric Gomes points to the widening gap between Boots and Ortiz's career trajectories. He sees Ennis moving toward another major title opportunity, while Ortiz remains stuck trying to regain momentum. That contrast puts even more pressure on Ortiz to make his next move count.
Eddie Hearn gets that done and makes a Boots. That's a unification. Vergil Ortiz is going to be cooked. Josh Kelly, again, great performance. Not his last fight, but the fight before that against Bakram Murtazayev to become the IBF champion. So Boots, I believe, would beat Josh Kelly if they do fight. So he's going to get another belt. And then Josh Kelly fought this dude, right? And retained the belt, even though he was bloodied up in that fight. So another good fight for Boots, and to get him closer to undisputed. And to be honest, at 54, he closer to undisputed if he beat Josh Kelly than he was at 47. Vergil Ortiz is screwed. Again, you see right here, Boots in advanced talks for a unification with Josh Kelly.
Turning to Boots Ennis, Chris Mannix reports that negotiations are progressing toward a potential unification with Josh Kelly. Ennis is coming off a major statement at 154 pounds, while Kelly enters the talks following a recent victory. If the deal comes together, the matchup could give Ennis another opportunity to strengthen his position in the division.
Up next. Yeah, Boots is chomping at the bit to get back in the ring, and I'm told there are advanced negotiations for Jaron Ennis to face Josh Kelly in a unification fight sometime in November or December. Now, Boots Ennis, of course, coming off that spectacular performance against Xander Zayas to become a unified champion at 154 pounds, knocked out Xander Zayas to win 2 belts in this new weight class. Now, he is looking to add a third. Josh Kelly coming off a win this past month. He had some injury issues after that fight, had a nose injury, but Matchroom, Boots Ennis' team, they believe that injury will be healed. And I'm told they are targeting that fight on the East Coast before the end of this year.
Meanwhile, Eddie Hearn outlines a clear path for Boots, with Kelly currently positioned as the preferred next opponent. The bigger objective is even more ambitious, as Boots wants to continue collecting titles rather than take a less significant matchup. If that opportunity falls through, another significant name remains available.
I had a call with Josh Boots Ennis last night. He wants to fight Josh Kelly. He wants to fight Josh Kelly, then he wants to fight Fundora for undisputed, straight off the bat. So all he's interested in doing is becoming undisputed champion. Josh Kelly is up for the fight. Obviously, he had a terrible injury in that fight, which has been, the job they've done on that is unbelievable. Still needs a little bit of time to heal. Adam Booth's telling us he'll be ready November, December. If he is, that's a fight for Philadelphia or maybe Atlanta, a big unification fight. I think that's very likely that we'll see that fight next.
Just last one, if he isn't ready, does Boots still fight this year?
Yes, I think he must really, and look, there's been a lot of talk about the Vergil Ortiz fight, and that's a fight that Boots is happy to take if he can't get another champion. But the reality is that all he wants to do is get his hands on another belt and undisputed, and then probably move to...
On the other side, Adam Booth welcomes the challenge of putting Kelly against Boots. He sees it as the ideal opportunity for Kelly to prove himself against the division's leading champion. Booth expects Kelly to enter as the underdog, making the matchup an even bigger test.
I absolutely do. I want Josh to have the chance to prove just how good he is, and there is no one in the division that's a better challenge to do that than Boots Ennis, who is the most accomplished and proven champion in the division. Josh doesn't want touches, and I'm not in this sport to work with fighters that want the easy touches. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of how he's gone about his career, how he's overcome the hurdles, and now I look forward to that fight being made and Josh proving just how good he is. And I expect fully everyone not to give Josh...
Looking at the matchup from Kelly's side, Paul Smith identifies a potential weakness in Boots' defensive discipline. He believes Kelly has the instincts and precision to capitalize when Boots gives him opportunity. If those openings appear consistently, they could give Kelly a realistic path to making the fight highly competitive.
Boots in that fight, he's very susceptible to being caught. He leaves himself open a bit too much, and I think he's a bit too easy to hit for someone of his level, if you get what I'm trying to say with that. Like, he should be a bit tighter than what he is. He's vulnerable, he's definitely vulnerable. Josh Kelly can be a nightmare for people with leaky defence or sloppy defence or laziness in them, and he'll definitely find a home for the shots that he throws. He's fast, sharp, obviously fights on his reflexes, like very, very good natural ability. And it's an unbelievable fight.
Turning to the stakes, Paulie sees Kelly as a serious opportunity despite the uneven path that brought him here. He argues that Kelly still possesses the ability to deliver a standout performance when everything comes together. That unpredictability could make the unification far more compelling than it initially appears.
The Ennis fight is an easy one to make. Kelly's in his 30s. Ennis is close to 30, if not 30, right? It's a chance to grab another world title for Ennis. One in unification. And listen, Kelly, for all the not having lived up to the expectation that he's done, listen, if Kelly can be as special as he was predicted to be for one night, listen, you never know what happens in that fight. Obviously, Ennis has been special every single time he's out there and fights. There's no inconsistency to Ennis, unlike Kelly. But Kelly at his best, there was a reason why there was a lot of expectation heaped on Kelly that he never lived up to. So you always wonder if that Josh Kelly can show up, and then you have a real good fight between Ennis and Kelly, But I think regardless, that's the fight that you're gonna be looking to make is John Ennis and Josh Kelly. I think that's the easiest one to make because, again, like I said, it's a world title unification.
Taking that matchup a step further, Timothy Bradley sees Kelly as a particularly awkward opponent for Boots. He points to Kelly's movement and defensive instincts as factors that could force Boots to fight outside his preferred rhythm. That stylistic contrast could make this a more demanding assignment than many expect.
Kelly's a little bit more difficult fight, believe it or not, than Vergil Ortiz. Styles make fights. Josh Kelly don't look like much, but he's quick. He got good reflexes. He got some pop on his shots. He's very deceiving. And he got legs. And he gonna move around all night, and Boots gonna have to chase. He gonna have to chase. And he gonna have to chase. And Boots don't really like to chase. You can hear it when they talking. Well, if he's standing right there in front of me, it's gonna be night. It's not gonna be a short night. They like guys that stand in front of them. Vergil Ortiz, yeah, they like guys that stand in front of them. That's what they like. But I think the fight's going to be a little bit more challenging just because of that aspect. I think Boots will eventually...
Even with those stylistic concerns, Timothy Bradley still expects Boots to solve Kelly's defense eventually. He believes disciplined pressure and effective ring positioning can gradually create openings against Kelly's elusive style. The difference, Bradley suggests, is that Boots may need patience before his offense starts to break through.
Eventually catch up with him, cut him off, hurt him with a big shot, because, you know, Josh Kelly isn't the most, his defense, even though he's very elusive, Boots throwing combinations, something eventually gonna crack that defense. You know, especially when guys that they just like to use the head movement and be, you know, elusive and agile. You can let those punches fly, man, and something eventually is gonna get in there on the guy. And as long as Boots is pressing forward, cutting off the ring, right, prepare himself for boxers, he should have no problem beating Josh Kelly. However, like I said, it's gonna be a little bit more time for him to be able to get to him, judging by, you know, what I know about Boots Ennis.
Meanwhile, Greg Hackett expects Kelly to make Boots work for every clean exchange. He sees Kelly's quick movement as something that could frustrate Boots if he rushes his attacks. That makes patience and sustained body work especially important as Boots looks to slow Kelly down.
He has hand speed. We know that he got quick feet, and you know, he going to try to make the fight tough for you. He's not the biggest puncher, but he can hit a little bit. And you know, with a guy like Josh Kelly, you just got to be patient. You can't be eager to get to him, because you know he going to make sure he do whatever to get up out of there, like he did with Bachler. Gave Bachler some trouble, but Boots is in Bachler, so you know it's going to be a different type of fight. But yeah, those are the things you got to watch out for. You can't just go in there and think you're going to just punch him in his head and he ain't going to do nothing about it. No, Josh Kelly is going to be quick on his feet, and especially fighting Boots, that's going to probably be the quickest we ever seen him. He's going to be quick on his feet, hands going to be fast, and he's going to be trying to get in and get out. You know what I mean? So you got to be good and patient and be ready to go to that body. You know what I mean?
Building on that point, Greg Hackett expects Kelly to avoid prolonged exchanges and rely on his movement. That could force Boots to stay composed, track Kelly's position, and resist rushing his attacks. If Kelly refuses to stand and trade, Boots' ability to control the distance could become crucial.
Patience, because he's not really trying to get in the shootout. Xander was willing to get in the shootout with Boots. Josh Kelly is not willing to get in the shootout. That ain't what he's trying to do. Josh Kelly trying to be who he is, pretty boy. You know what I mean? So that means when you carry a name like that, you basically your start off for hitting, not get hit. You know what I mean? So that's saying he's gonna be in there trying his best to get some shit off and get the fuck up out of there. You know what I mean? Boots just gotta be patient predator, more like a hawk. You know what I mean? You gotta be like a hawk that night. Just keep your eyes on him and you know, keep him in range. You feel me?
With Boots versus Ortiz off the table, Charlo could be the next major test for Ortiz. But is Charlo the right opponent for Ortiz's return, or should Ortiz target another challenge? If they meet, who takes the win, Ortiz or Charlo? Share your prediction below and subscribe for more boxing analysis and fight updates.